Good afternoon, Professor Spradley. I apologize for not sending my video last night. I went to bed thinking it was sent, but I woke up this morning seeing that the video was corrupted, so I very much apologize for the inconvenience and the further delay in my last assignment. Sorry to push your patience even further. I'm so deeply sorry about that, and I'm sorry that I have to record in here in my house with the ugly background of all the walls torn out. I'm very sorry about that. There was construction going on outside my fiance's family's house, so I couldn't make any good audio, and the insurance company was late on sending a check to the hotel for my hotel room, so I couldn't use that either. So this was the only place left I had to go. So I apologize for my echoing voice and the terrible audio. I appreciate your patience on that. So very, very sorry about that. All right, I will begin my speech, my commemorative speech titled, "Thank You, Professor." Professor, when the spring semester began, I was struggling. I was drowning in multiple problems. I was dealing with depression. I was forced to pick up two jobs. I was forced to balance two different jobs because from the pandemic, my father lost his job, and I had to step up, be able to help provide for my family, to help us keep the house. Many organizations and businesses are closed. The economy has ground to a halt, and millions of people across the globe are losing their jobs as a result of COVID. My father was our main source of income for the family while I studied, and my mother took care of my younger sister. My mother and I had to step up and both get one or more jobs to help keep the family afloat. I began working two jobs to help support myself and my family. All my time and concentration went to work and school at the time. The labor department said 20.5 million people abruptly lost their jobs, wiping out a decade of employment gains in a single month. The speed and magnitude of the loss defies comparison, and that loss hit my family. My mental health began taking a toll because it wasn't a priority. Like school and working became to me, I continued to put it aside during the stressful time because I felt selfish being able to get on top of my mental health while having to help my family. My fiance suffers from a terrible disease called systematic scleroderma, a severe chronic disease that has systematically damaged her body constantly. Her medical condition started to become unstable throughout the semester. She has had to undergo tests because her heart is getting worse from the increased palpitations, along with her lung capacity getting smaller and smaller every month. Along with the constant appointments, along with taking her to constant appointments, I have to help her cope with the symptoms of the chemotherapy she has to do. My fiance received, and worst of all, as time went by, as the semester became more of a struggle balancing my other classes, more bad news came. My fiance received terrible news from her main doctor. My fiance's doctor has not been able to come to any viable solution for a condition after years of her being his patient and him being one of the few specialists for her chronic disease in Houston. So at her most recent appointment, her doctor told us that because of her liver and lungs becoming worse and getting closer to failure, he told us she only has a few years left to live, but he has no idea how many. And as February approached, tragedy struck when the snowstorm hit Texas, causing a setback and a new challenge to deal with. After suffering through blackouts, no running water, and a county food shortage, the storm left my family and I's home in ruins. When the snowstorm came in and went, the damage inflicted to our home was very severe due to all our pipes freezing and bursting. The winter storm that left dozens of Texans dead, millions without power, and nearly 15 million with water issues could be the costliest disaster in state history. And just like COVID, my family was caught in the worst of it. The snowstorm completely destroyed my family's home, forcing us to leave it. Due to the severe water damage from the broken pipes, my home was rendered destroyed, forcing my family and I to get all the walls, floors, kitchen, and bedrooms to be stripped, and we having to put all of our precious possessions into storage because our small hotel rooms couldn't even fit a quarter of it. And now all we have left for a home is just a decrepit shell. Ever since my family's home was destroyed, we have been forced to live in a hotel waiting for our insurance to write a check for the damages so our house can be fixed. And 4 months later, after moving out, we are still waiting and do not know when we will be able to go back home, or even if we will be able to go back home. However, through it all, Professor Spradley has been the most patient and understanding educator I have ever had the pleasure of meeting in my academic life. This semester was to make it or break it for me to be able to transfer and pursue my dream career as a physical therapist. I wanted so badly to finally give my family and fiance good news and something to be happy about for once, but juggling my jobs, taking care of my fiance, helping my parents through it all, and struggling with my depression and anxiety, it just simply felt impossible, especially with the crushing deadlines of my other classes. However, meeting Professor Spradley from the get-go and seeing how understanding and patient she was gave me hope. Ever since the first email I gave her explaining my situation after situation. No matter how many setbacks or impossible challenges arose, Professor Spradley was always understanding and always willing to give me an extension whenever I needed it. No, whether it was a power outage, whether I was stuck at work and I couldn't even stay awake at night to be able to work on my homework after working a 12-hour shift and taking my girlfriend to her appointments the next day. Ever since the beginning, Professor Spradley was always understanding, especially about my mental health, and I very much appreciate that. And honestly, I was at the point of giving up. I felt there was no hope for me. I felt there was no way I was going to be able to get the grade I needed to be able to transfer and pursue my dream, and I was going to have to disappoint my parents again and my fiance again. And honestly, I believe I was going to have to give up and accept I would never go to Texas State, and I was just going to have to just keep working and just hope I can save up enough money to be able to try to apply to be able to get into more classes and try again. Because I have to be completely financially independent for my family, because I don't want to be a burden to them. And I was at the point of giving up. However, because of Professor Spradley just giving me a chance, just a chance, I was able to push through, get through all my other classes, be able to balance my job, and be able to take care of my fiance. I was able to do all of that because through the worst 6 months, honestly, worst year of my life, but just 6 months becoming worse, Professor Spradley gave me a break when no other situation would. And I am forever grateful for that. I still don't know whether or not I have the grade to be able to transfer, but because of her, I at least had hope that I could at least push myself hard enough to be able to push through all of this, through all my hardships, and be able to get the GPA I needed to be able to transfer. Professor Spradley has been the only educator I've ever met who cares so much about a student being able to succeed in her class. She was the only professor that actually seemed to have taken my mental illness seriously and all my problems seriously, not just some poor excuse or just not caring. She had the empathy to be able to give me the break I needed and the patience I needed. And because of her, I had hope, and I can say that I'm proud of the progress I made in my classes, and hopefully I was able to make the GPA I needed. And hopefully, at least, I'm just happy to just have hope that I can possibly be able to make my family proud, my fiance proud. If I do get into Texas State, no matter how many years pass by, I will always look back and remember the second chance that this professor who has never met me, only through a computer screen, decided to give me. And I will never let that go to waste, because I know if I had any other professor, they would not have given me that second chance or given me that empathy or understanding. And in the end, she became another person I just simply didn't want to disappoint or feel like her empathy and patience was wasted on. So I want to say thank you so much, Professor. When I saw this assignment, I never thought much about how am I going to be able to write about an SFA educator? How am I supposed to write about someone who's affected my life, even though I haven't been able to afford to live on campus for over a year, and I didn't have much of a relationship with any other professor I had online. But you, Professor, you were the one person. You were the one thing that made all the progress I made possible. So I want to say, repeating the title, thank you. And if I get into Texas State, I will be forever grateful towards you, because it's all because of you. So I hope you enjoyed the speech. Have an amazing day, and I deeply apologize for how long you had to wait for these assignments to come out. And thank you so much for everything. Thank you so much for everything. I will always be grateful for that. Have a great day.